Hey, this is Darren from Property Prosperity. Thanks for joining us today. I just thought I'd have a bit of a chat to people about letting them know why, if you're selling your house, basically everything matters when you're selling a house, which is really frustrating. And I understand, why that could be not such a big and a good thing. But if you want to get top dollar for your house, and if you basically, which means more money in your pocket to do the next thing, whether that means buying your next house or going on a holiday or putting money aside for your retirement, whatever it happens to be, that can be tens of thousands of dollars. And so what that means is you really got to put in the effort up front. If you look at it, 10, 30, 40, 50, even $100,000, people, that's a whole year's wage of someone sitting there typing away at a computer screen or digging holes or whatever they happen to do. So, it definitely is worth the effort of putting in the effort up front to make sure you can get top dollar for your house at the end of the day. And so, because if you think about it from the buyer's perspective, remember they're spending the most amount of money, the more money they've ever had in their entire life, essentially. And every time they buy a house, it's generally more expensive than the previous house. So it's the biggest investment they've ever made. And they're buying it on a property that they might have gone to an open inspection. They've been there for 10 minutes walking around, So it's a really big decision to make, and it's a seriously big investment for them, and they've got very little to go on. So what they're doing is they're trying to make judgment calls throughout the process. And that starts right from the very start, which is, like I said, the first impression. So pretty much the way people find about properties nowadays is the internet. Realestate.com and Domain are the two main, internet portals, they call them. There's a whole heap of other ones, but basically that's where the bulk of people go through when they're looking for properties. And so that's probably where you'd first start. That's your first impression. And so what you want to do is present the property as well as you possibly can right from the very start. So that's going to be photos is going to be their first point of call. So they're going to have a look at the photos. A video is going to be the next stage. The reason why I think a video is useful relative just having photos, and again, my first thing with photos, have heaps of photos, have really good quality photos. So my next thing is with the video, the reason why the video is important than just having photos is because sometimes photos really don't give people a good perspective of what the house looks like. And also having photos, just remembering if you don't get through to that next stage where they actually come to the open inspection, then you might not have any opportunity to try and sell the house. So by having a video as well, it allows the agent to get on there and actually try and sell the house. So basically you're trying to convince people to get in their car and come and have a look at it. So that's why videos are really important. If, again, with agents are, just doing videos which are just moving pictures with music underneath, that's not really a video of particularly any use. So you might as well just have photos. So the other thing is you really got to have a good blurb in there that's going to tell people a story about the house so they can fall in love with it before they come and have a look at it. And just give all the information they possibly can, because people nowadays, what they're making a decision on is, do they want to rock up and have a look at the open inspection? Do they want to get in their car and drive around? People are always crazy busy doing thousands of things nowadays. So they're less inclined to come and have a look at 20, 30 houses than they would 10, 20 years ago. So they're going to pick out the house that they really want to come and look at. So the internet's the first stage. So presenting as well as you possibly can, the internet is really important. So again, if you're looking at agents trying to make a decision which agent you're going to go with, get on there and have a look at the way they market their properties, have a look at their photos, have a look at the videos, have a look at the way they explain what they do. So again, that's the first impression. That's going to get people in the car to come and have a look at the house in the first place. When they get there, when they come to the open, you really, again, is there a smile on the face of the agent? Is he a nice person, really? Because again, it's not going to necessarily change their decision on whether they buy the house. But if they're a slightly better mood than they, by the time of having a chat to the agent, and the agent got them in a, could explain things clearly, built their confidence up, built the level of trust up in the agent, and that then transfers over to the property, which people think, okay, well, if I can trust this agent, then maybe I can trust this property is a bit better than some of the other properties I've looked at. And so again, what that means is, people aren't always necessarily looking for a bargain. They just want to make sure they're not going to get ripped off. And so again, they've got a very small opportunity to try and work out, is this legit? What should I offer? So by presenting the property as well as you possibly can, then you're going to give that really good impression. And again, that comes down to the trust thing, the trusting of the agent, the trusting of, is this person trying to do anything dodgy, and they trying to hide up cracks and anything that's something wrong with the property. And so, and then finally then it's the follow-up. Did they follow up? Did they give me extra information? And again, that leads down to the impression of, okay, not just the agent, but also the impression of the property as a whole. Is this a property I can really rely on, that's going to be something I want to live in for the rest of my life, basically? So for a lot of people, they might live in 1 or 2 or 3 properties in their lifetime, and so it is a lifelong decision. So they really want to be sure of what they're making a decision on is a long-term decision. So the other thing about this, if we're going to try and present the property as well as we can, again, that comes down to the owner just as much as the agent. So really, you've got to clean the house up as much as you can. You really want someone to fall in love with the house. Want to live, want their dream home. So they're going to pay a little bit more than they otherwise would because it's the home they've always wanted. And it's not about the money. It's about trying to find that, that lifestyle, the experience that they've always wanted. So again, if someone falls in love with a house and they're looking for lifestyle and experience rather than, a bargain, they're more likely to pay a bit more. So you can see why all this thing leads down to the fact we've got to present the house as well as we possibly can for every single person that comes and look at the house. We never know who's going to actually buy the house. So that means, for our first open, we're going to try really, really hard. But then likewise for our, if it's been on the market for 6 months, we have to try just as hard in 6 months' time as we are for our first open, because at the end of the day, we don't know who the person is going to buy the house. So that probably also is part of the factor of why you want to make sure you sell your house relatively quickly, because to be honest, it's a bit of a hassle trying to sell your house. And if you want to make sure you're making a good impression every single time for every single person that comes and looks at your house, we have to present it as well as we possibly can, which means it has to be perfect every time someone comes. And it is a hassle. It's a hassle making your house perfect, keeping it super clean and super nice. So, if you're going to have 1 or 2 opens a week and you're going to do that for 6 months, if you're living in the house, it's going to be a lot of effort. And if you're not living in the house, you haven't got a tenant living there, and so it's costing you money basically. So it all comes down to if you want top dollar for your house, you really got to present it really well. And it's a bit like speed dating, I suppose. You've only got one chance to make a first impression. If you don't make a good impression on that first point, you might not get to the next stage where you call you back, or they come back for a second look, or even if might not even come and look at the property at all if it doesn't look good on the internet. So it all comes down to first impressions. So hopefully that made sense to everybody. And if you've liked what I had to say, then click on the like button. If you haven't if you haven't liked it, then click on the like button anyway, because I really appreciate it. And if you think someone's about to put their property in the market and they're not really sure how much effort they should go into, then click on the share button, and hopefully then they try a little bit harder than they otherwise would. That's why it does concern me when I see agents put properties on the market before they're ready to go on the market. The owner still hasn't finished renovating it, or they haven't finished building it yet, or they do what's called an off-market sale, which basically means they're only going to market it to a limited number of people, and the owner's not specifically ready to put it out to the open market. You've got to understand, if you're going to be doing things like that, then you're going to sell the property at a discount, which that means that's money not in your pocket. That's in the purchaser's pocket. Basically, you're giving money away that you could be using to buy your next property. So hopefully that's all made sense. If you've got some comments, then put a comment in the comment box. If you have some other questions or something else you'd like me to talk about in a future episode, then feel free to put a comment in there, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. And I look forward to talking to you next time. Thanks, guys.